Hello everyone, and welcome to our third week in organizational behavior. It's hard to believe that we're already heading into the third week. Lots of things that you've been doing and lots more to do yet. So thank you for those good forum discussions. I appreciate it so much, especially the discussion around carrots and sticks. That was fascinating. And I hope you took a lot of good things away from Dan Pink's presentation. So what I'd like to do in this presentation is simply talk a little bit, review a little bit, recap what you've just read and been thinking about this past week. And then I want to give you a heads up and focus your thinking on some particular things that will be coming up in your reading and studying for this coming week. So first of all, you've looked at a lot of different motivational theories. You've looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you've looked at ERG theory, you've looked at acquired needs theory, you've looked at equity theory, you've looked at the two-factor theory, and by the way, there's an interesting self-assessment to take on the two-factor theory. If you go to page W40 in the textbook, a self-assessment number 7, that will help you see if you how you are as a manager in the two-factor theory. And then you looked at expectancy theory. Now, after looking at all those motivational theories, the question that comes to mind is how useful are these theories? What can they be used for? Or how do we understand all of these different theories? And I think, first of all, realizing that there's so many theories of motivation demonstrates the complexity of human behavior, that we can't simply quantify human behavior or reduce it to a mathematical equation, although some of those theories almost look like that's what they would like to do. The theories do provide, however, possible and plausible explanations for human behavior and help us to try to get our heads wrapped around why do people do the things they do at the workplace. And they make us aware as managers of factors that we need to take into account. This is all more psychological than most managers understand. And in the past, much of this, especially motivational theories, had to or would be classified under the heading of behavior modification. And that's almost what managers sometimes attempt to do. In your life lab, you looked especially at intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and they are both needed and necessary. But the question is, are there jobs when one works better than another? And that's a question that we all have to wrestle with. I might mention that intrinsic motivation works really well as long as salary and the possibility for promotion are in place or acceptable or easily that employees sense that their salary is satisfactory and that they have an opportunity to be promoted in the way that they would like to be. That's when intrinsic motivation works well. Everyone wants to be rewarded for something. Figuring out how to give them appropriate rewards to motivate them is important for a manager to do. So enough about motivation for the moment. Let's look ahead to this next week. And what I want you to watch for in this coming week is, first of all, think about the advantages and disadvantages of working with teams. Think about when would teams be most effective and efficient? Are there times when teams are not necessary? And think about the difference between a team and a work group. And how can theories of motivation help us get to high-performing teams? How can theories of motivation be implemented to help us get to high-performing teams? And when you think about teams, and in your reading this week, I want you to pay attention to the group formation, the stages of group formation. Be aware that our textbook only talks about one particular type of team formation. There are other theories out there, and some people who believe that what the textbook explains is a little too linear and not necessarily the way teams develop. So be thinking about that. And then think about two things that are detrimental in teams. One is called groupthink, and I'm sure you've all come across this. There are historical examples of groupthink and the disasters that have resulted. Pearl Harbor is one, the Bay of Pigs invasion is another, the Challenger disaster. We could think of others as well, but if you do a little Google search on these, you'll see where groupthink was particularly involved and how dangerous that can be. And then there's social loafing too that always affects teams. So that's what you're going to be looking at this coming week. And next week we'll take a look at performance reviews. You'll have done your life lab on that. And always, as you need help or have any questions, feel free to contact me. Next week I might show you my face again. So until then, have fun and enjoy your reading.